Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you very much for lending me your time, your ear, listening into another Kinectivity video. And this one is about Burning Rangers. It's something I want to see make a comeback. And you'll see a couple other videos this week, both also related to Burning Rangers. So there'll be 3 videos for it. I've been a fan of the series for a long time, so that is not even series. Shoot, I've been a fan of the game for a long time and think it deserves a series. But imagining Burning Rangers playing it with Kinect and knowing what these characters are, they're actually just high tech firemen. To be honest, like that's what they are. Like in a futuristic world where they don't use fucking water to douse fires. They use those energy beams and energy waves and stuff like that. And I could see there's a couple routes I could see is gone. I could see like a brand new game being made from the ground up with different characters from the original cast, just like a different unit of the Burning Rangers. Like, because you would think that since they're firemen, to be candid, they're firefighters. You would think there would be multiple groups of them, so it wouldn't necessarily have to hinge on the original group for this to be done. And what I would like to see, personally, you could turn this into a first-person game, but I don't really think that would. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Actually, yeah, that's one of the possible routes. You can do a first-person game with it, or a first-person game where you're handling the energy weapon to put out fires, and then you're rescuing different people, which that's pretty self-explanatory if they're going to do something like that. And this wouldn't necessarily have to use the Kinect to do that because they could just use a controller for that. Another route that they could go, which could use the Kinect, would be to have like an operations center for the Burning Rangers, and you are the person coordinating the different units and or maybe even just the different members of a unit to send them to different tasks that are happening. Like if we're going with the what I'm thinking, each individual mission you are working with a different group of Burning Rangers and you are part of the dispatch and you send them out, but you're also monitoring the situation from where you are and you can tell them about certain things happening. Like for instance, if a hospital has been something happens in a hospital, there are multiple fires all over the place. You send them in. You can tell them which floors certain things are on, and you could communicate with the nearest member of the team and send them toward that happening, or like a floor collapses in and some people get trapped. You could send off a member of the unit to go rescue those people, or 2 members of the unit, depending on where it is and how big it is and how what the scope of it is. You could send them out, have them not send them out, but direct them to where those people are and what they need to do in order to rescue them. You could also point them to fires that are possible. Like you can give them warnings of certain things that might happen, like depending on what the system is showing you. Like say for instance, there's a gas line that is leaking, and there's a fire that is slowly making its way down toward that area that could cause a major explosion. You could send someone to prevent that and keep that from happening. Like because you're that you can direct them, and I would say the units would work in like 3 to 6 man units, depending on the mission. Actually, that wouldn't be bad. And you could, as far as the Connect goes, you'd be like using your voice to tell them what floor and what sector, because it'll be laid out in a grid for you to be able to do that. Or if we wanted to just say use hand motions and things of that nature and gestures and stuff like that in order to touch and not necessarily touch, but point to where certain things are. And it would be highlighted on the screen as you're doing it. Like, that could also work. I think that would be cool. That would actually be, I could see, that could be fun. I don't know. For me, somebody like that, somebody like me where I could see how things could, where I can see how things are laid out and I can adjust to it happening, and that would be cool. And if this game were to be sticking to the spirit of the original, where every time you redid a mission, things changed up, like you would never play, like you could play the same mission and not get the same, not play it the same way twice. That was how that game worked. So every time you go back to a mission, you have to do things differently, which would, one, allow you to rescue more people, and this would also allow you to unlock better equipment for your rangers and have them better outfitted to be able to handle situations. So the better they are outfitted, the better of an outcome you're going to be able to get, because they'll be able to move faster, they'll be able to take out threats quicker, and they'll be able to rescue people more efficiently. I'm like, and those things, I think though that would be stuff that's really well justified in order to be able to do. Like, the better you perform, the more upgrades you unlock, and the less work you need to, not the less work, but the less difficult those particular missions become, which would mean that other missions as you go along would have to be far more complex and require more thinking and work in order to be able to solve them. So it's like a strategic puzzle at the same. It's a strategy at the same time as puzzle. It's a puzzle where you're trying to figure out what pieces need to be where and how those pieces are going to fit into place at the right time. That's basically the concept that's in my head for that. Now, if we were going to stick with the first person route, you could just do that with a controller, or it could be done VR, but I'm not really going to talk about how it could be done VR because it wants to describe it as a first person game, you'll probably understand. If you're not doing the call center thing, where the dispatch call center type thing, where you are one of the rangers, if you're doing the first person perspective, and I'm giving 2 game ideas in this video. If you're doing the first person perspective for Burning Rangers, then that changes the whole game up. You would be an unknown ranger. In this situation, you would not be an established character. You would be yourself. So character customization, you can make the character whoever you want them to be in this particular game, because it's not like you're looking at the character while you're playing the game. So I really wouldn't care if they were an established character or not. But for this, I would say don't make it an established character. That way whoever's playing can get more into it. Because apparently that's how people need to be. If they're not the character in the game, they don't want to play it sometimes. And I don't get that, but whatever. So you set up your character, and you are whoever you claim to be. You're a new ranger, first day on the job. You're learning from... And this is where I would take the old team, the original 5 characters, and make you the 6th member of their team, and you're learning from all of them. So I can't remember all the characters' names. I can only remember the main dude that you play with. His name is Sho. Like, I can't remember everybody. I can't remember the rest of the names for some reason. But I know what all the characters look like, and obviously I have the case here. I remember all of the characters. I just don't remember all their names. But you are an upstart ranger. They have been on the job for several years. They all work very well together. They have camaraderie and all that. You're the new guy joining up with them. And your first mission out, training missions and stuff like that. You do all that crap. You're on your first mission out. And storyline-wise, there's nothing you can do about this, but somebody dies. Somebody dies on the mission, and your character could have resolved the situation if they had made a move. This mission in this game would not be replayable. This one mission would not be replayable the way it is. Like, because something has to happen. There has to be someone who dies, and there has to be a learning experience for your character to grow and whatever else. As far as how the game would work, I would allow for switching equipment, which the front bumpers or shoulder buttons, depending on what you would be playing this on, would swap between different types of energy guns. Like you have your normal energy pistol, which can be charged up, and you can shoot that to take out like sizable fires. Then you'd have a longer range version for like things that you can't, like if there's something that you can't run to or you can't jump to it, you could take out this longer ranged gun and take it out from afar, which would be useful. Like it would come into play sometime later. The characters can run a decent normal speed. There's also a dash function now because that was in the original game where you could dash along really quickly. You can dash across the ground pretty quickly. If you jump in the air, you can only get like 1 or 2 dashes off before you descend back to the ground. Probably start off with 1, and then as you get further into the game with equipment upgrades, you'll get a second one so you can boost your distance and maybe reach some places that you couldn't reach before, and then you'd have to replay some missions. So I think that would be pretty cool. You can also upgrade your armor, like your equipment, to allow your armor to sustain higher levels of heat, which would also be something to be thought about, because you'd have to be able to create situations in the game where there are certain barriers you just can't pass, and you can't take the fire out because it replenishes itself. But like the only way to take care of it is to get to a line that is across a sea of flames that you can't get to. So you leave that, you complete the mission as best you can, come back into the mission with better equipment and a more flame retardant suit. Guess what? You can now cross that and get into there and take care of that item, and you'll find more people that you can rescue. So, and I would stick with the premise that the original game had, where each time you come back into a mission, it changes up. But I would have the mission change up depending on the equipment that your character is currently equipped with at that moment. There would be several variants for everything that you have, but just say you're not going to get the same mission twice, no matter what. Well, you might, but you're not likely to get the same exact mission twice. You might get very similar missions because things randomize and change up, but it shouldn't be exactly the same twice. And with that, I would also make it co-op, split screen local co-op for people who might not want to have to buy 2 consoles and 2 copies of the game in order to play together, as well as online co-op. If like online mode, I would say up to 4 people, and that way everybody is their own range, like you're your own ranger, and everybody gets sent off to objectives separately. You're not all sent to the same objective at the same time, and sometimes these objectives stack on each other, where one person has to take care of a certain objective for another person to be able to take care of theirs. Which I like that. To me, I like that type of stuff, where the game could adjust to the players and can adjust to what they have, what they're equipped with, and what they're using for each and every mission. So I think that would be pretty cool. I like that concept, and that's something I know Sega could do, or I should say Sonic Team could do. This is one of the last games outside of Sonic that Sonic Team has made. I kind of want them to do something else. I'm trying to think though. Is there really anything else I could say? Nope. Outside of like a dodge mechanic for like potential boss situations, the original game did have bosses. So I would throw in like a dodge mechanic that you can hit a button really quick, or and also like an energy grenade type of thing where you could just drop it and it can wipe out a lot of stuff all at once in a particular area if you need it. You need it to. Goodness. Uh, that's it. There's nothing else I can really think about. Nope. Nothing else I can really think about. So I'm gonna call it there. I think I'm done. If you would like to see like a Burning Rangers type game made in either of the ways I talked about it being done, I it sounds like a good. Even though it's a weird concept of you being like this high tech ass firefighter, it's actually something that's interesting. It's different and it's not utilized. And Sega has this IP. They've allowed parts of it to be used in other stuff, and they've used parts of it in other things, but they won't revive it. And I kind of want that so bad because I liked it a lot. Like I mean, when I first played it, I didn't really care for it, but I liked it a lot. It grew on me. But that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out.